republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Here.
Halbert.
Here.
Hukin.
Here.
Betts.
Here.
We have the agenda approver. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
All in favor? Against? Citizen participation. Anybody like to come up? Come on up, Jackie.
Well, first I'd like to thank Jessica for saving our video at the last meeting. I understand she somehow worked digital magic and got it restored, so we're able to go and see it. And I have watched it and rewatched it, and each time I feel a little more ill at ease. I don't know if it comes from watching the mayor's treatment of a city employee, who at least arguably might be considered his subordinate, or if it comes from watching him let Jennifer take the heat for what he did. To remind you of what happened at the last meeting, Alderman Hussain stated that no one but the city council or mayor could instruct Jennifer to make a transfer from one account to the other in the city's accounting system. None of the aldermen or the mayor disagreed with him. He then noted the entire council and the mayor were present and simply asked who told Jennifer to make the transfer. The other 5 aldermen did not speak. It was the mayor who broke the silence. He stated, "I didn't do it, but I'll say I did if that makes everything good. I will take the blame." Those of us who regularly attend these meetings are all too familiar with the mayor's newfound martyr-like behavior. I believe that meeting was the 3rd time in as many months that he proclaimed his willingness to take the blame for something, even as he simultaneously claimed he didn't do it. It is insincere, it is unconvincing, it is tiresome. But that's not what disturbed me about the video. I don't think I've ever seen a grown man put a woman into a virtually indefensible position and then sit back and watch her twist in the wind when his misbehavior becomes public knowledge. So I will get straight to the point. Mr. Mayor, everybody suspects it was you who told Jennifer to make the transfer. You were the only one on June 3rd who wanted the transfer to be made. You obviously expected to benefit from it in some way. Jennifer not only did not benefit, but has suffered public embarrassment and humiliation because of your misbehavior. So my question is simple, and I think all the men in here can take heed. Will you continue to hide behind Jennifer and throw her under the bus to protect yourself? Or is there some place deep inside that is still man enough to stand up and really, actually, take responsibility for your actions? Thank you.
Anyone else? Come on up.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I just wanted to take a few minutes tonight to share a quick update and say thank you. First, I would like to extend a sincere thank you to the city's electric department for the work they recently completed inside the concession stand at Hood Park. The improvements they made help ensure the building is safe for our volunteers and families to use this season, and we truly appreciate the time and effort they put into getting that taken care of. I would also like to recognize several members of our community who volunteered their time over the past 2 weekends to help improve the concession stand. We have had individuals donate their time and labor to install cabinets, countertops, move shelving, power wash, sand, and paint the interior, and help us organize the space so it can function more efficiently. We still have a few things left to finish, but the transformation has already been incredible. I'm very thankful for the people who showed up ready to work and collaborate to make that space better than ever. Their willingness to step in and improve a community facility really speaks to the kind of community we have here. I'm also excited to share a quick update on Crawfordtown Youth Football. We officially closed our spring flag football registration on Saturday with 165 children registered to play. Since then, we've added 4 more, bringing our total to 169 kids participating in our very first season. We also have 24 volunteers who have stepped up to coach, and we couldn't be more grateful for those individuals who are dedicating their time and energy to help make this season a great experience for these kids. In addition, 19 businesses and individuals have stepped forward as paid sponsors for our first season, and we would like to thank them for trusting and believing in our mission. We are proud of how far this program has come in such a short amount of time, and we are incredibly thankful for the support we've received from this community. We would like to invite everyone to come out and help us kick off this season on March 20th at Hood Park. Games will begin at 6 p.m. and will continue throughout the evening. We hope to see many members of the community there showing their support for the youth in our town. At the end of the day, this isn't just about football. It's about giving our kids a space to belong, a place to grow, and a community that shows up for them. And we're proud to be a part of building that right here in Cuba.
Anyone else?
Alright, good evening. I would like to bring some matters to your attention, the city council's attention specifically, and actually would like resolution for these matters. Time after time, things are being brought to the council's attention, the severities of issues being heard, but no resolution or no accountability of ever follow through. To bring specifically to your attention, I believe the date was January 23rd, 2026 and February 20th, 2026. Those are the court dates that Alderwoman Hertzel made happen by erroneous claims against Dan Edson. This cost the taxpayers money, it cost citizens money, and due to her signing the erroneous claims of the ex parte against Dan Edson, stating Alderwoman Hertzel, it brought the cities to liable claims. I will ask the city, do they plan on paying for the citizens' gas money having to go to these court dates, the time off work for these citizens having to go to these court dates, and that Dan Edson's subpoena fees for these court dates? These claims were unsubstantiated by the court, and in fact, during trial, after the testimony of Alderwoman Hertzel's witnesses was ceased immediately by the judge in the matter and thrown out of court, not even needing to hear the rest of the testimony from it. Due to that, there's been no public apology from the city to everybody involved by this. The city's watching, the community's watching, and these things are important when you try to take somebody's freedom away and when he is a running mate of an opposed position. So reimbursement should happen due to that for these people having to take time off work and have to be at the disposal of the court because of these erroneous and fictitious claims. On that date, things were dismissed, and there's been no conclusion after that. So I asked, when are we going to start the impeachment process for Alderwoman Hertzel because of that? When you go to make claims against community members that you say to uphold and work for the community, and you do that to community members, that is not just wrong and degrading, it's immorality, and it should not be tolerated. So I ask that if these were unsubstantiated by the court, why has no action been done by council? Conclusion of that will be at the council's discretion. Again, the community is watching on how things are handled. That's not okay. Would it be okay if any of it happened to you fictitiously, or any of the people here fictitiously? Second matter is the clicker. That's another issue that there's no resolution on. The flag football has started. They have not received the clicker of the operating scoreboard that is fixated to the ground of that park. That has been weeks with no answers, and they are actively in season. The park board and the park board committee are not getting the correct information to you guys on the agenda. As the Derby people are here, I will tell you I was at the meetings and only partially commercial things were getting to you. It's imperative that the Park and Rec Board and the committee make sure to get the appropriate things to council where everything is on there. And lastly, I brought this up at the beginning of February for the same date as the Meet the Candidates night is for the Park Board night next Tuesday. I used to be your Park Board president. I was on that Park Board for several years. There's no reason that Park Board date cannot be rescheduled for community members for both entities to be able to attend. To have to keep asking for that and it just not be done is very questionable and to the extent of why. That's all I have.
Anyone else?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for allowing me to speak. For the record, my name is Dan Edson, 505 Kidwell Drive here in Cuba. I'm actually taken back that I don't have any congratulations on my recent court win.
I already congratulated you.
Oh, you did?
I lost 2 days pay.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
And you
Alderman
put it on
Rouse.
the internet too, didn't you, Jeff?
What's that?
You put an article on Facebook about it, didn't you?
Sure did.
Yeah.
I'd like to address, Mr. I'd like to address an issue that we're seeing pop up here a little bit here. A while back, Mr. Noel Hendricks was lured out to a soccer field by some people. Matter of fact, they were aldermen and council members. And he was verbally attacked by one of your aldermen. Degraded, downplayed. It was uncalled for. And I said something about it before. We kind of let it go because I felt it was just some type of a personality conflict. But we've seen it happen again. This individual has lured somebody in with the promise of helping their particular program out and requesting lists of stuff that he could help with, and then verbally attacked him and degraded her, for her choices and who she's supporting and whatever not. Getting kind of tired of it. I really am. It's going to stop. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, moving on. All right, we got the special meeting minutes of February 17th, 2026. I have a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? The regular minutes of February 17th, 2026. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Against? Executive session minutes of February 17th, 2026. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second? Have a second.
Two seconds at the same time.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Bills to be paid. Any questions on that? Have a motion?
Motion.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Street Department. Accepting Bill Dodson retirement. Come on out, Bill.
How y'all doing tonight?
Not as good as you are.
So, Bill, you're retiring on us, huh?
Yep,
What day?
March 15th.
March 15th.
Yeah.
And do you have anybody, you,
Of 2029.
2026.
I guess you have somebody that comes up in your place, I guess, and
Well, Alan's been working with me real close to hopefully take over, when I leave, so he'd be the next one. been there for 20, or 18 years, I think, so.
Well, as the street committee member, I would make a motion to promote Alan to the supervisor position and save money from doing all this posting and crap.
Can we
Move
do,
Alan up to the supervisor's position and post
you can't do that.
for the, what?
Can't do that. Can we just post
Why don't we-
in-house though?
Why can't we do that?
Well, that's not the proper hiring procedure.
So, okay, Jeff, just make a motion to post it, no, can we make a motion to post it in-house for a week?
Well, you could post it internally.
Yeah.
That's
We
fine.
waste so
See if
much
you get,
Money.
see if you get qualified applicants.
Do we have to advertise it in the local paper for a position?
No, we go in-house only.
Well, I think you need to do it both ways. You need to do it in-house, but publish it. I think you have a preference for qualified candidates of the city. There's no reason you can't consider them, but I think you need to go ahead and publish it.
We just went through this with the natural gas and we kind of forced it to go out for.
We did have this a few months ago. I think.
I don't mean we can't do it in-house, but I think we have to.
Right. But you need to open it up.
I figured we'd go in-house first and nobody wanted it, then we could go outside.
I'd go ahead and publish it.
Can we do it for just 1 week?
Well, then let's do it the way we always do it. You know.
Isn't this the only department we have an assistant supervisor in?
I think so.
Unless you've got one electric.
I don't, do we? No.
No.
No. Yeah, so.
I say follow attorney's advice, that's what we got it for.
You need to follow the same procedure you've always followed. You should not deviate from it.
Alright.
So, you wanna make a motion to,
Do we need to go out for an assistant supervisor position, Bill? Do we need an assistant supervisor?
It's always been with 5 employees if there was an assistant. So you're gonna end up, if you do that, you're gonna end up going plumb down to a laborer.
Okay.
So you're gonna be 3 positions there to get it done, right? So,
Can you make them an
can you do all of that together so that it doesn't run out for?
internal supervisor
Why in the hell do we
until
have that
until it's,
pay scale if we can't promote within?
We can still promote
You
within.
can
We
promote
just
from
have to go
within,
through
but
the
you have
process.
to follow the proper hiring process.
Yeah.
So you have a supervisor and assistant supervisor, is there another position?
Well, if you would take 2 from the inside,
Yeah.
the ones that are coming up, then you're gonna end up with 1 empty laborer
Yeah,
position.
okay, yeah.
I don't know.
But I
how
don't
else
think you
we get
can
there.
do that until you've promoted from within yet. You don't know that until you do that. So I think you have to start with supervisor first
You just keep
and
moving
then
everything.
keep going and going and going
Get there.
It's a long
till you get
process.
there. It's a long process.
Well,
Unfortunately.
do you have to
Unfortunately.
remind first before you
We
go?
will.
I think we went past something here.
Is that all you're worried about, getting yours through?
I make a motion, we accept his resignation.
Retirement.
yeah, we need to make that motion first, yeah. Have a second?
Effective March 15th.
I got a second. All in favor? Yes?
Oh, no. We're gonna be in trouble.
There we are, more than you know.
Yeah. I wish you a happy retirement.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Give him a hand.
So, let's get on to posting or go ahead.
I make a motion that we post it within and in the paper.
I second
Just the supervisor position to start off with, right?
Yep.
Do we have to post that for 2 weeks? Can we do 1?
What do you normally do?
Oh.
We're going 2 weeks.
No, we normally do 2 weeks.
going 2 weeks.
But it's gonna, well, this is the wrong calendar.
And you're starting with posting the supervisor.
Look up there and tell me what 2 weeks is.
Got a motion to that?
We have a first and a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? That does.
All right.
Good luck, buddy.
Good luck. Thank you. Thank you, Rodney.
Arthur in there. Where's he at? Archer, engineer.
I don't get to retire tonight.
No, you don't get to retire.
You're so good for a little longer.
You can't, I don't know if we can accept it. Meaning,
Thank you, Mayor. I'm here tonight to report on a few of our ongoing projects, and then also to make some draft recommendations for the water and sewer rates that we've talked about over the last several months. So first thing on the list is just a quick update on project at Tangle Creek Park. So the pickleball court, as you know, they're under construction. The main playing courts have been placed. Weather depending, they plan to install fence either this week or next week, and then there's some concrete ribbons around the perimeter of those courts that needs to be poured. And then after that, once the 28-day curing period is completed, they'll want to paint and stripe the courts, and then do kind of the final touch-up around the perimeter of the site. So we're looking at project turnover within the month, assuming that the weather behaves. So in time for folks to use those courts this spring. If you'd like to schedule a ribbon cutting or something, I would say sometime, in April would be a good time to do that. So the only action item I think I need from the city, we've yet to select the court colors. And I'm colorblind, so I'm certainly not qualified to do that. Suggested that we at least bring this to your attention here tonight. There's only just a few standard colors to choose from the paint manufacturer that we're using, so those are on the top of the page. I think around the country, the majority of the courts you see are either blue or green. Showed a couple examples there of kind of the interior court painting options, as well as what folks have done around the outside of the playing area. You can make that decision tonight. You can collectively, come back to me later. We just probably need to make that decision within the next 2 weeks.
Can we let the park board pick this color out?
That would be fine. I can send you this by email and they can make.
I would like to keep the park board more involved,
Sure. No, that would be fine.
And that'll be next week.
That'd be fine. I think, so that 28-day curing period is up 2 weeks from today, I think. So they can't apply that paint until after the 17th. So if you had that decision made, by this next meeting or at the next week's park board meeting, if you'll just inform me what that is, I'll let the contractor know.
Anybody hear from the park board?
Huh?
Anybody hear from the park board?
I don't think anybody.
They never are.
Anybody?
So I can send this to Laney electronically, and if you can forward that to the park board to take action, that'd be great. Okay. Any questions on that particular project?
How far out are they from doing the paint versus the fencing and all that?
So fencing, I think, can go up anytime. That's the next step. So the plan is to sink all the fence posts. They'll come back and pour the ribbon and concrete, finish the paint, then a striping, seed, and straw, and they're done. So, like I said, I think within the next 30 days they should have everything wrapped up and issue a final request for payment on that project.
What's the warranty on that?
Should have a normal 12-month contractor warranty from substantial completion. That would be for materials workmanship. And then I believe the paint product has an extended manufacturer's warranty that we'll want to make sure we get the paperwork on and make sure you get a copy of that.
Hey Cameron, so are they bringing in topsoil and seed and?
I need to read the contract and make sure. I was thinking we excluded. They're responsible for the grading, but I think the city
Okay.
It's bringing in topsoil, I
Gotcha.
believe. I'll double check that.
Okay, thank you.
Because I know we had that conversation before you did. Any other questions on the pickleball court project? All right. Next thing I want to talk about, get down in the weeds a little bit on the water and sewer rate analysis. So we've done a lot of work over the last few months. Have had some coordination meetings with your new municipal advisor. Obviously, you heard his presentation last month. We've used some of those debt service schedules and some of that financing information to kind of build some different scenarios in order to make recommendations on your water and sewer rates. So just a real quick summary of what we set out to accomplish as part of this task order. So we looked at your current user rates relative to your budget expenditures the last few years. We've gone through some different scenarios, tried to conservatively estimate what your population growth could look like over the course of the next 10 years. We've compiled a list of potential improvements with all the utility supervisors and kind of built some big picture cost estimates for improvements needed in the system, both repairs and replacement of some existing aging infrastructure, and also what might need to be done should the city continue to grow and the development be successful and eventually fill in all phases of what's been submitted. So we've looked at that, and then we've also looked at some different financing alternatives, and we've talked about some grant funding alternatives for some of the future phases as well. So just a quick reminder on item 3 there, based on what Northland presented to you at the meeting in February, we're looking at moving through capital improvements or major infrastructure improvements kind of in a phased approach. The first phase, relative to McBride's first phase, is being paid for out of current city funds, but you do have a resolution that will allow you to reimburse yourself should you proceed with funding for phase 2. So phases 1 and 2 together, we're estimating somewhere just shy of $2 million, somewhere between $1.5 million and $2 million. So the debt service estimates that you provided were for a initial loan of about $1.8 million. Phase 3, which is kind of those longer term improvements for some sewer treatment plant upgrades and also some water system upgrades. We're calling that kind of a 5 to 10 year plan, $4 or $5 million, and then phase 4 would be well beyond that. Those are very round numbers, but that assumes that you have continued growth with the full development that's on the docket, as well as other commercial and industrial growth as well.
Can I ask you a question on that?
Sure.
When they do the water upgrade, is there a possibility we get off the bleach or not?
So that is an issue in and of itself. So you right now are voluntarily chlorinating. It's allowed you to do that because you're not mandated to do it. Yeah, you can do it at a more economical, in a more economical manner than if DNR mandated that you did it. So if you would choose to, as a council, come off of chlorine and you have any bad samples show up over a period of time, they will then force you to do it, and then you have to build it out to their specifications. So we had run some numbers. The cost to do that could be up to like $150,000 per well to install permanent chlorination in order to meet DNR standards, where right now you're doing that a lot more economically. So I would highly advise against it, but in theory, if you continue to make improvements to the water system and you have a high level of confidence that you know where those sources might have been that were causing problems before, I mean, by all rights, the council can make that decision. Just know that you would be taking that risk on the back end. Yep. So I would say it's highly unlikely, but it is possible. Yeah. So, just real quickly, if you go to the second page, wanted to talk through what some of our assumptions were as we built the cost estimates related to these rate recommendations. So, as you know, you have a fairly large base of industrial users and commercial users in town. In order to not, what we didn't want to do is take for granted that even if the residential population grows, that commercial industrial population would necessarily grow at the same pace. So we converted your industrial baseline to a equivalent number of residential customers for the purpose of these cost estimates. So what that does, it insulates you a little bit from counting on that compounded growth between residential and commercial. So what we're showing you for growth and what that additional revenue would be purely for population growth from a residential standpoint, and does not account for that additional commercial and industrial growth. So, you know, in a perfect world, you bring more rooftops to town, you get more commercial users, you bring in more industry, your financial position for these utilities only gets better than what I'm showing you here, but we didn't want to count on that being the case. So, as of right now, we are only counting on kind of those additional residential customers and not building additional commercial into these rate estimates. We've looked at some kind of immediate rate increases, you know, larger rate increases, but, you know, 1 or 2 time increases versus kind of more of a stepped rate increase over years. I think the consensus is if we can keep that to kind of a minimum and come up with more of a long-term plan of some incremental increases that don't have so much sticker shock, that's probably better for your citizens, your paying customers. So when we get to that point, you'll see how we're proposing to do that. What we did here was just try to make sure that the adjusted rates covered the projected debt service payments that Northland has estimated for you based on the phasing. So the one thing that I want to just make sure it's understood here, you know, that's kind of our roadmap of how we would foresee things progressing over the years. That does not require you to borrow money at any certain period of time. What we wanted to do is make sure we had a reasonable way to increase your revenue to a point where you can make the payments when the time comes. So if this development doesn't happen as quickly, your financial situation improves, you know, you can pay as you go, you can use this additional revenue to chip away at instead of borrowing that money. But ultimately we wanted to make sure that if we're helping you plan and we think we have that looming debt out there, we wanted to make sure we could get it to a spot where you can pay for it without having to rob from, you know, the existing water or sewer funds, or even worse, having to rob out of general funds. So that was our assumption there. We looked at several different years of budgets, and also looked at kind of some of your similar systems in other towns. These revenue projections, or these rate projections, assume about 60 cents of every dollar gets reinvested in the system, and you have about 40 cents on the dollar of what's collected to actually either do improvements or to make those debt service payments. So, you know, ultimately your system gets larger, you end up having more people, you end up having more equipment, you have more repairs. So not every dollar you collect goes in the coffers. You know, a good portion of that goes back out. So I think that's a pretty conservative assumption, but you certainly wanted to point that out today. The other thing, just kind of, you might find interesting. So what we try to do is not overcommit to a certain amount of development in the short term. So what we've done is assume about 49 new residential customers by year 2029. So that would equate to about 10 new residences, you know, outside of the McBride subdivision, and about, you know, basically that first phase completely fill in the next 3 years. So I think the developer's projections show that happening a little quicker, but we didn't want to count on that money coming in any sooner than that. So that's what these are based on.
If I'm reading this right, the average use is gonna go up $3.79?
That would be in the first years, yes. So basically what we assumed is the first phase builds out by 2029. The whole subdivision takes another 10 years past that to build out, which I think if it's successful, probably it makes sense. So if you look down, this is a very complicated spreadsheet that we built, but I kind of took a snapshot of what we think we would like to see in order to cover those debt service payments, what you would need to raise your rates for your average water and sewer user. So we tabulated several years worth of data. Your average residential user uses about 3,700 gallons of water a month. So for that 3,700 gallon a month user, you know, right now their water and sewer bill combined is a little over $54. What we're looking at is trying to raise those rates over the course of the next 6 to 7 years by about 7% a year. So that would equate to a combined monthly increase of $3.79.
That's how I read it.
Yeah, so that would be for water and sewer combined. You would raise that combined sewer bill by just a little under $4 a month, and that pace would continue based on those projections that we reviewed with Northland last month. That pace would need to continue until your existing SRF loan is paid off, and then, you know, through the time when your third phase debt service kicks in. So sometime around 2032, 2033, it appears you could, assuming that there is a little bit of growth in town, you know, you could theoretically pause your rate increases at that point, and then that additional population growth as it fills in would continue to pay your bills, and you wouldn't have to continue to raise rates. So we could look at water and sewer separately. Your rates are pretty complementary of each other. It seems like, you know, the cleanest way I would propose you to do this would be to pass an ordinance that has an annual rate increase of like 7%. You could call it 6.5%. You could call it 6%. You could call it 8%. But I think about 7% feels right based on the numbers that we've seen. And then, you know, basically that goes into effect at a certain date every year, unless council takes other action on it. So that doesn't force you to have this conversation. It doesn't keep you from having this conversation every year, but it doesn't force you to have it every year. It does look like you need to do this for several years until you can catch yourself up. You know, the water and sewer.
When's the last time we had a?
It's been 2014, I think, for one utility, and
back then they said raise 2%, and we never done it.
so, you know, and what you've seen too, I mean, just inflation has affected everything. It's affected your materials, it's affected labor, it's affected, you know, diesel fuel over the last 10 or 15 years. So, you know, 7%, I mean, it seems like a pretty large number, but you're also chasing inflation in that too. So it's not a tremendous increase year over year, but that will allow you to do is get to a point where, you know, your funds are solid, you're able to do emergency projects out of it. You're not having to continually try to find money whenever you have a need, and you can also, you know, as these larger projects come into focus and we know what year those are going to hit, you'll have rates where they need to be in order to make that debt service. It'll make procuring that financing easier. I mean, I think it avoids you having to do a massive rate increase at a later date. It also will put you, when the time comes to do some of those larger projects, it might put you in a better position to pursue grants and some other low interest loans and things that require you to have your rates set at a certain percentage of median household income. So
our plan goes to 2033.
Yep.
I like that. We got to keep.
So that, right, and so that basically allows you to kind of bring on what we're calling phases 1 and 2, and also being prepared to finance for that bigger phase 3, which includes some improvements at the treatment plant. Once again, those aren't improvements that you have to do if the city doesn't grow population-wise, but if you do need to be financially prepared to do. The other thing I would say there is, even if you decide not to pursue that large, massive wastewater treatment plant as a financed project, you know, these rate increases could help you, put you in a position to even do some equipment replacement and things in phases that, I mean, right now you just don't have the cash flow to even consider doing those kind of things. So you do have a pretty large project out there at some point just to replace the equipment. Even if you were going to go out and replace it 1 for 1, it's aging, it's toward the end of its life. You know, in a perfect world, if we bring on some additional population, we need to upsize some of that equipment, you'll get more bang for your buck that way. But that plant can't function forever without some attention. So this allows you the ability to, you know, take care of your existing infrastructure, take care of your existing users, and then it also kind of plans for some incremental growth from.
And this raise, if we needed a new water tower out there at McBride, that would.
We've included that in those.
You've already included
those long-term projections. So
okay.
We don't know exactly where that falls. I mean, we think that's probably in the 5 to 10 year range. But we definitely want to make sure when the time comes, you have the ability to borrow that money and make the payment on that if we have to throughout that project.
Cameron, didn't you say that we could probably get some grants to help with this too after our audits are up to date?
Yes, so, you know, DNR has a facility plan grant that we intend to pursue, and we know we're pre-qualified by the city of Cuba. It's a first come, first served grant program, but the DNR has already said the city's eligible, but they have to see audits up to date before they'll actually enter into a contract with you. But that's a $50,000 engineering report grant that's 80% funded through DNR. So That's a great place to start. We kind of know where the threshold is, where you're over capacity at the plant, but that grant would allow us to do some of that planning and cost estimating and all the things you need to do to have that project on the shelf and ready to go. So yes, there's that and there's others, but I think we would want to pursue as many different grant opportunities as we can over the coming years.
So your recommendation is for us to make a recommendation to bring our prices up tonight and then do a city arms on it?
Yeah, I think you would have, in order to change the rates, it'll have to be an ordinance, so I would work with you over the next few weeks to work out those details, but approximately 7% increase year over year for both utilities. And if we want to just say that annually, and it's reviewable by council annually, I think that's fine, but we are projecting that you need to do that at least through, if you go ahead and raise them in 2026, we would say you need to do that through 2032. So you're somewhere in the 7-year range, 6 to 7 years that you would need to do that.
So you're asking for a motion tonight to approve the rates, right?
I think the way I mean, it's kind of a confusing issue, but I think I would say, that if the consensus is to proceed with developing an ordinance that increases the water and sewer rates annually by 7%, I think that's what we're recommending that we do.
And you just said 7% for both by 7%, but you mean 7% combined, or are you talking about?
It works out to the same either way, but at 7% combined. Yes. So yes, 7% combined. 7% each, I guess I should say. So that means that works out to 7% combined. Yeah.
Okay, do I have a motion of any kind?
Are we gonna make a motion
No.
now?
It's just on for discussion about the study tonight, it's not on for anything.
So we can send some of these projections to Emily and kind of talk through what that looks like, because you have different billable, you have a minimum monthly fee, and then you have per 1,000 gallon fees, so we can look at what that looks like and try to come up with a chart that makes it really easy to do that year over year. Yep. Any other questions, Julie?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 7, moving on, county. Go ahead.
Good evening. I live at 1002 West Washington, here in Cuba. That is just on the corner of Henderson and Washington. Henderson Street has been closed for many years, and we use it as a drive. And I was told by a previous councilman to come to you and ask if you're not going to open that as a street, can that be transferred to Mazzell and I? And, well, the owners of the properties that street is beside. So that would be Mazzell and myself on my end. I'm not sure who owns the other property. I guess the city owns the other part because the will is there. But that's what I'm going to ask you, is if you would be willing to transfer that property over to us, or if we could buy it, or what needs to be done.
We've done that before.
Yes.
Yeah, years ago.
I'm gonna make a motion to vacate it and transfer ownership.
Yeah, we've done that before. Have a second on that?
Second.
You've got a specific process, I believe you're gonna have to follow to vacate the street, which involves petition and notice, and that's just requirements by law.
Where were you at when we gave away the street over at the marijuana plant?
Not here.
We just gave it.
Not here, apparently.
All right, so I make a motion to start the process.
Yeah. Have
Second motion.
a second? All in favor? Against?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. EOC director, Terry. Who's direct line?
Mr. Mayor
Is it my friend?
and City Council, I have some concerns about my position at the EOC office, moving of the equipment in the office to Rec Line. On February 17th, City Council meeting, it was brought up by Councilman Lassane that he and the new EOC director, Mr. Wilson, had a discussion of moving the EOC office to the Rec Line auditorium. This discussion ended with the conclusion, to what I understand, of moving the office and the equipment to the dressing room at the Rec Line auditorium. Now, I feel I should have been involved in that discussion and decision. And where's the city councilmen that are on the EOC committee? Was they even asked about this or on this commission? I have trouble with hiring the position. I have been told that the moving of the EOC office and equipment was expected in the near future. And even though I have asked about this multiple times, nobody has had a meeting with me about moving this. I have been asked my opinion about moving the office to the Rec Line auditorium, and I would like to include my thoughts on this matter. I do agree that the parking issue in the parking lot, with all the officials in, as mentioned by Councilman Lassane, that the people, the federal, state, county, and the local department, there's plenty of people to park their equipment and anything that is needed. I also agree that the EOC equipment needs to be near the command center. I agree with these facts mentioned in the city council meeting. My concern is with the citizens is if our county and our city, the citizens are displaced from their homes during an emergency, and the Rec Line being the full command center with the workers, where are the people to go? Depending on the emergency, the citizens may be required to bed and meals, and that takes up quite a bit of space, as we all know. I was told that the city received a grant for the generator for the Rec Line auditorium, that is a shelter for the citizens to go to during an emergency. That is probably where the Red Cross was set up. Now, will the command center have adequate space and privacy if the displaced citizens are also in the auditorium? And another thought on the rental of the auditorium is for weddings and other events occasionally held at the auditorium. There are 2 dressing rooms that are used. And if the EOC is to move their equipment into one of those dressing rooms, then that might hinder people using the auditorium for that purpose. So either the auditorium needs to either be able to be rented out, or it's not to be rented out and be designated for that purpose only. Any questions?
I don't understand the last part.
The Rec Line is rented out.
Right.
If they move my stuff into an office, that's going to hinder people wanting to use weddings and stuff like that. So they either need to make a decision that Rec Line is no longer being rented out, and that become the EOC command center for everything, or if they're going to rent it out, then we need to find another place, because, and I'm going to go on a little thing here, if you've got citizens down in the main part of the auditorium that are displaced, and we're trying to have meetings for the command center and everything like that, those people are already upset, they're wound up, whatever you want to call it. Social media will be on fire if they only hear part of a conversation and not everything, they don't know everything. That can hurt any type of emergency situation. So we gotta have a place where the citizens are nowhere near the command center for these decisions. So that's why I feel we need to find a place, or either that the Rec Line is no longer rented out, it is strictly for EOC, command center, and things of that nature, which I know that's not what it was set up for to begin with.
Why don't you get with your committee and come back with a recommendation to us?
Well, I would like to get a chance, I've asked, and nobody's never taken me over there. I would like to go over and walk through as I was told originally, going to the MEPCO building.
Yep.
I would like to get a complete walkthrough of that.
You can do that.
There's not room for all that over there, right, Gary?
All room for what? Just the command, the people, or what?
The command center and and my equipment.
What kind of room are we talking?
Well, now,
What type of space?
Well-
Just for the individuals?
Well, if we got a major problem here,
Right.
you're probably gonna have city and county, definitely. You could have some state officials down here. So I don't know how big of an office we would need or space, but you gotta have the head of the departments that are gonna be working there and everything like that. So there's gotta be, I'd say, a pretty good sizable area to where we can have a layout.
All gather up together.
Right, yes.
Might I make a suggestion?
Yes, sir.
Have you met with the county guy and?
Yes, I've talked with Mr. Lestang, Mr.
I got
Wilson.
you.
Yeah.
And maybe tour it together and make a decision, because the only problem I see with using the big building down there would be that if we got people displaced, but we have all the trucks and everybody here that's here to work, you're gonna now have a lot of liability with everybody trying to sleep in there, trying to run.
No, I'm not saying sleep over there. This is designated, this is why the city of Cuba got that generator. Redline is designated by the American Red Cross as the emergency displacement center. If there's a bad enough, say, a bad flood or a tornado, God forbid, and I mean, God forbid. If Red Cross is gonna come in, that's where the Red Cross is gonna set up. That's where everybody's gonna go until they run out of room. And then they would probably set up tents or something like that.
But the EOC does not have to be the command center for an emergency. It's just, we're just talking about putting a computer in a room and having a backup generator and having you've got your sleep center, you've got your cold, you've got your air conditioning. I'm just trying to make it to where you're all in one place, but your command center doesn't have to ride your computer.
It needs to be there so we can know of any changes of weather or anything like that come up. Why would I have to go to two different places?
Your computer won't override everybody else's on an emergency like that. That county would be running that. Our computer probably will not be running any major. I mean, that's why I'm saying I think you need to get with the county and you guys come up with a plan. Rather than always just sitting here going, well, we should move it down there or maybe move it there or whatever. I would just get with the county guy and you guys work it out. I mean, we got a committee. Who's on your committee?
It's Mr. Halbert and Mr. Houghton.
Okay.
They'll make about it.
So are we gonna talk
So you're looking for just really an office over there?
Well, the way I was always explained, and this is even by the state guy, Mr. Brett. The command center and the office pretty much need to be together. But that's the way Mr. Brett of the state, SEMA, recommended it should be. And that's what I'm going off of.
And give it your committee, if you want to get the county to, fine, and have your meeting, let your committee come back.
What's the firehouse back here look like upstairs?
It's pretty rough, I mean. Are you talking about, you need a place for the people? Rec line, I'm just saying. Rec line for everybody to go. Then you need a place to gather all the officials.
Officials and workers.
You want them in the same building or not?
No.
Want some
I don't think they
separate.
need, I think they need to be separate
Right.
because if you got citizens there, say you got a couple hundred
Right.
people there, social media, and they try to hear, they only hear bits and pieces of the EOC, whether it be city, county, or state, whoever's in charge,
Right.
trying to make a plan, and they don't hear everything.
Yeah.
Well, they're not doing this, well, they're not doing that, and that's gonna make our headaches go from this to,
Right.
Yeah,
To wide open.
bottom line, you want them separated, right?
yes.
You want
That's
this
really- that's
displaced
really-
citizens separated from the command.
Yes.
Okay.
So you can either look at Metco, or like Jeff said, we can look into this two-story over here.
So what I'm saying, get your committee.
There's that middle part over there at Metco that somebody mentioned too.
I mean, there's offices in the warehouse, but again, I don't know if we're talking 20 people.
I don't know how many, I don't know how many
We
would
just
be
don't really
involved.
know.
Right, I don't, but you
So-
gotta figure it's gonna be probably every supervisor of
Right.
every department.
But I think this could be an option over here for that to happen, because it's a big open room. But, and then, Metco would be in the warehouse, so we have to do some type of security to keep the people out of our.
Right, and I understand, yeah, and I understand that all, yes.
Right.
Do we
That's
have
why-
enough heat in that warehouse to?
Oh, right here?
The offices.
We all.
Oh, it's all heated.
Yeah.
The office This is their climate control.
So
Warehouse.
I'll get with
There's
the,
3 or 4
I'll get with
offices
Mr.
now.
Hughes and Mr. Calvin.
And get with Jerry and bring back, they'll bring back recommendations.
It's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. All right, moving on, treatment plant bid of UV system installed.
David Menardi is at a conference and Ray is not here to present it, so this is the message from David. If you'll recall, at the February 3rd council meeting, I requested permission to order $31,708 worth of UV system parts. During the conversation, I informed you, the council, that a site visit from Xylem UV system manufacturer would be necessary to install 2 of the precision sensors. The sensors have arrived. I also informed you in October of 25 that the site visit from Xylem cost $5,149 to diagnose and troubleshoot all the issues of the system. No one had any objections or questions about it when I mentioned it. However, I did not actually ask for approval for the next site visit because I did not have a current quote. Since then, due to Xylem issues, I've still not been able to obtain a current quote from them. Tonight, I'm seeking approval to get the site visit scheduled to install the sensors and get the UV system fully operational with the understanding that the total cost will be at least $5,149, but could be slightly more due to inflation and company policies that could have changed since October.
Do I have a motion to accept that?
Motion.
Have a second? All in favor?
Discussion, real quick. That's in the budget, right?
He did not discuss it with me, but David keeps track of all of his budgetary items, so if David is requesting it, he has already looked at his budget and knows that it is a budget.
Okay, I thought we did.
Yeah.
All in favor? Against? Electric department. Hello, Andy.
Hello. I need, this quote is for the Brightstone subdivision, last reel of wire. I didn't know if I was gonna need it or not. I do, it should be the last reel of wire I need for the first phase. So one quote because they're the only company that can get us this wire within a reasonable time. Other companies are 20 weeks out. It says 8 to 10 on there, but I talked to a salesman and he can get us, as soon as you guys approve it, I can get a reel ready.
Is it in the budget?
McBride has not been budgeted at this time. That was something that was discussed prior to all of the other purchases with McBride, but we have the reimbursement agreement, so.
So it's okay.
I noticed on the bills, you're putting McBride on all the,
We're putting McBride in capital, project because the reimbursement is for all capital projects. And that's the way that the municipal advisor described the whole project.
I make a motion.
Motion and second. All in favor? Against? Oh, I want to ask you something, Andy. With the McBride project, I hear that, they went above and beyond what they actually need to do. I hear that they're going to run the wires to our poles or something.
Pedestals. That's like secondary wire. Normally, traditionally, in any subdivision or any place, we stop at the meter. So, if the meter's on the house, we have to go from transformer to the house with the conduit and wire. They agreed to stop at the lot lines, and we set a pedestal with some connectors, and then they go from the house to the lot line.
And how much money do you think that's saving the city of Cuba?
We just did it a little bit ago. It's like 200 and I think I have the numbers like 250, 280,000, something like that.
Yeah.
Over the whole project, not the first phase, over the whole project. So.
All right.
the savings and savings.
Yeah, savings is savings.
That's all.
They didn't have to do that, but they did.
She McBride told me, I said thank you.
Yeah.
They didn't have to do
We'll
that.
be meeting with them next week for roads. They're gonna start putting roads in, so we're gonna try to get some wire around.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, planning, zoning recommendation. Anybody here want the,
Planning and zoning is not here, but Planning and zoning had their hearing for 2 rezonings in January, and they made 2 recommendations to move forward. The first one is of Mr. Aldo Alou. He is rezoning a piece of property from R1 to R2 for, he's going to build some triplexes, correct, yes. The Planning and Zoning Board did recommend and made motions to move forward with that rezoning request. Within the same meeting, there was another public hearing for a different property. This one is Jacob Hiley, and he's rezoning from R1 to commercial to operate an existing business that he has. There was also a recommendation to move forward with that rezoning request also. So Planning and Zoning has made the recommendations to move forward. I'm asking for approval to move forward with this and schedule the next Board of Aldermen hearing. That's the next step in the process.
Okay, the hearing.
Yes,
Do I have
Board
a-
of Aldermen hearing.
You do it all.
You do these separately,
Yeah.
day and meeting.
I can, we can, yes.
Yes, we
That's
have
fine.
to.
Because there are 2 hearings, we've done this in the past, it's up to you guys. I would request a special meeting to do the 2 hearings. Same night, yes, same night, just I would recommend either March 26th, it's Thursday night, or March 31st, it's a Tuesday. I can do either one of them, it's up to you guys.
So tonight, all you need to do is set the hearing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yes, yes, so if we can decide on that tonight, or a date tonight, then I can set
I'm okay with 26, anybody else?
a Thursday night, do Thursday nights.
March 26th works for me.
Okay.
We have a motion to accept that.
26.
Motion.
Second. So we want to do each one of them separately. We can do each one of them separately. So,
What time on the 26th?
we did the last hearings at 5. So does 5 o'clock work for you? It does?
I'll make the motion. Nobody already has it.
Who did? I'm sorry, I said.
She
So
made the
Hartzell?
motion and seconded
Okay. I vote yes.
So this is to move forward with the first rezoning request, correct, Theo? No?
This is where the public comes to voice their opinion.
it.
Yes, so they already had the first one, planning and zoning. This is the second one with you guys, the Board of Aldermen. Okay. We have a first and a second for that one.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against?
And then for the second rezoning, the R1 to commercial, same night, same hearing, same time only.
Laney, is this down on Washington?
It is.
Isn't that already?
It is not actually, we checked it. I confirmed with the MLE, and she said a lot of them there, like throughout the, years ago, she said they redid a bunch of them, and that was not one of the locations.
Because
That came up at the
Yeah.
meeting too.
Yeah,
before, everything, one block of Route 66 was commercial.
yeah. It is not though. It's crazy that it's.
So motion and second.
I think it's.
Got a second. All in favor? Against? All right. Moving on. We done?
Done with that one, yes.
All right, we got ground and property management.
I just wanted to give you a quick update on a couple of projects that we have going. I went to a committee meeting in the airport back on February 9th. I think we were on the agenda to talk about the hay and the brush hogging and all that stuff. So what I was asked to do was to reach out if I knew anybody that did hay. So I reached out to a few people. I got a response from one person that's interested. I showed them the place that we do, which is the airport, Barnett Parkway Drive behind the sale, and then a treatment plant. And he's interested, and he's gonna write up a contract for us to look at and approve, and it's gonna have detailed, the actual land plots that we've asked him to do. And so I'm kind of waiting for him to get that information back to me so you guys can address it and see what you think. And I think it's gonna be a yearly deal. He said he'd give it 1 year or just, and I told him that if the contract works and everything was worded, that he has first choice the second year as well, if we choose to run it.
Emily, that's okay, right?
If we work that in as a
Yeah, he said he'd do his own contract.
provision in the contract.
And, he does have an insurance, so he will provide that as well. And at the airport, I just wanna know, through the winter, we've got about, I wanna say 85% of it brush hog. So, we kind of pulled off, you know, depending on weather, and we'll try to finish it. Can't guarantee, but we got, like I said, 85% of it done, brush hog. And, other than that, out there, that's pretty much covered that, at the airport. And while we're on the grounds, thing, I'd like to go out for advertising for summer help. I've talked to Jennifer, she's good with, you know, yeah, summer help.
One.
Probably one, yes.
I'll make a motion to go out for summer help.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against?
Thank you. And a little bit on the buildings, this property that we've been doing. Red line is completely done on the inside as far as the ceiling where we did the repairs. And we put the light up and all this stuff, and we've, replaced all the light bulbs on the, I call it dance floor and dining area. So, and that was all in the budget, and right now we're doing a little painting here and there, and fix some drywall. Trying to get a few little things like that cleaned up. Other than that, down there, I think that building, pretty piece of shape, you don't need some stuff, but we're just packing away little things, you know, depending on weather, we go inside and do that. And while, I guess the pool, just so you know, is scheduled for week of March 23rd to address the floor. Company's gonna come down, we're gonna drain it probably 3 or 4 days before that and get it clean so we can see what the issues are with the floor. It's no charge, it's under warranty, they're probably gonna end up polishing it, what they said. I don't know exactly where all the bad spots are, if there's one, I don't know. But we're gonna look at it then, and, you know, whether it really got something on the pool.
Did they ever do the floors in the shower? Would it ever get done?
The building itself?
In the shower?
Yeah,
Where the floor was breaking?
it's good.
Oh, yeah.
That last time I tried to go there, I was threatened to be arrested.
Another thing real quick, does anybody remember what we decided on that old pavilion? That was at the pickleball.
It's gonna be moved out.
We're gonna move it off by the playground, or is that something we still wanna do? Cause it's gonna need some work, 'cause unfortunately we broke some boards, you know, trying to move it from where it is now, you know, and we're gonna have to move it another.
Something the park board needs to decide on.
I mean, if we're gonna move it, we're gonna put a little money into it, you know, if it's a temporary thing, cause is there a plan for a new pavilion and all that separate?
That's all driven by grant.
Right. Yeah, so I mean, if that was the plan to move it, we, you know,
Give the park board on that.
about wanting to move it over
Good
there.
luck with that.
I'm sorry.
They said get with the park board, I said good luck with that.
I'll ask them.
So, we gotta move it regardless, right?
It's gotta go, it's gotta go over there.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's gonna survive the move.
One time.
I don't know if it's gonna survive the move, but we're gonna.
That's what I'm getting at, so.
Well, it's gonna need work on it.
Right,
to do
we're gonna have
that,
to put some
so-
metal on it, replace some header boards that are broke from trying to move it, we gotta go
But we gotta move it, right?
over there, that's what we're
It's
doing.
already
We're gonna move it.
It's already moved from.
Yeah, it's out of the way.
Man,
Can it stay there and,
I would rather we either get it from there and put it over there, or we get rid of it, we're not gonna use it, because we gotta do all that landscaping around the football court.
that's what I was getting at, because you're talking about.
We have a
topsoil.
meeting Tuesday.
Right, so we wanna get it out of the way so we can finish all that project up. So we, either we're gonna move it over there and use it for ever how long.
The park board meeting.
I'll just talk to the park board and make that, you know, make a recommendation to move it or do away with it.
That was good.
Anything else? Anybody got any questions on anything?
No, thanks for what you're doing, Gary.
All right, thank you.
Oh,
Gary?
yes, what summer help, we're advertising for it, what's the rate gonna be? What's that?
Minimum is 15, so that's.
15.
And do we need to make a motion to do that? To go out for summer help?
We did.
We did.
Okay,
We did that.
okay.
Hey, Gary,
Yes,
I was told that you come to these meetings and we ask you a lot of questions, but you don't take comp time or overtime for that. You gotta start doing that. Yeah.
Well, if I'm asked, you know, I usually come
Time
to
down.
I usually come on my own, But if I'm asked, I mean, I can do that.
Yeah.
Usually come on out, so I can,
Well, we
clue
need
what's going on.
we need you here because we ask you all the questions. And you have to start
But
getting compensated.
that being said, if I'm here, do I need to take this information to these people? What's approved, what's not approved, or what's going on? You know what I mean?
Take stuff back to the public works.
I mean,
I
you know,
agree
the
with
time we
public
talked about
works
it
and tell
before,
people.
but, you know, you didn't want me to do it, which whatever. You know, if I'm gonna come here, you want me to come to these and pass the information, I can, but that's up to you.
Gary, I come in, Britt, and tell the guys.
Yes, Joyce does come after every meeting, inform everybody. of what
But
went
if you're here and we're always asking you questions, you should be taking the time.
Yes.
I can write it down.
There's rarely a time that you do.
All right.
Okay,
Thanks, Gary.
thank you.
Spring cleanup.
For what you're doing tonight.
Thank you.
What time do you want to do spring cleanup?
So, spring cleanup, Dawn has arranged this, and the only Monday and Tuesday that we can get is April 6th and 7th.
When, I'm sorry.
April 6th and 7th.
Spring cleanup. Have a motion to approve?
Motion.
April 7th is election.
They do it during it's a trash pickup, like, bigger, our notice will tell them they have to have it out, like, 6 a.m. So, should work.
I got a motion. Second? All in favor? Against? All right, now on the budget revision, Park Fund, General Fund from within FY 26 budget. It's on there, so who wants to speak about it?
Well, explain it. What is it?
It's to move the people back under the park tax like they've always been. And the reason for this is the park tax brings in about $227,000 a year. That should be plenty of money to do the things that we need to do and pay the people that are maintaining the yards, the lawns, the pool, and all the other stuff that goes with it. The park tax was told that that's what it was for. Now somehow, who cares? The grounds people got moved out from under the park tax, which means that 35% that the park tax was made to help do is now being absorbed by the general fund. Well, the general fund was already maxed out. So now we've moved $50,000 of debt from under the park tax into the general fund. All I'm asking is that they be moved back into the park tax, because how are we gonna tell people that we need a park tax when it's not doing what it was built to do? I personally feel like the people need, the grounds people, the 35% that was, I think that's the number that was given, needs to be moved back into the park tax, and let's use the park tax for what it was intended to do. We can't move them out and then expect next year to ask the people to renew our park tax when we're not using it for what we told them we were gonna use it for. We need it. Without that $227,000 a year, it's gonna be hard to keep our pool open, much less maintain all the yards in the park.
I'll make the motion to move it back, because that's kind of a safety net for you guys.
Was it one more year?
Yeah,
Before the
just
park tax is
for the year.
due again?
We'll face not having them under the park tax when we don't get the park tax back. We're creating a problem for ourselves a year and a half in advance, and we don't need that problem right now, because we have the end of the year coming up, a new budget coming in, and our general fund is not in a position to handle $50,000 worth of payroll. It was good to go the way it was. I'm not sure why it got moved, don't care. I just want it put back so that when we go to the people and say, will you renew the park tax, we can tell them that we're good stewards with the money. That's just my personal opinion, and if we decide not to do that, I'd like a roll call vote on who decided that we no longer needed the park tax to pay the grounds maintenance. Because it's coming up for a vote. The park tax will be coming up in about a year's time, a little over a year's time, to renew. This is a huge vote.
Now, I'm the one that got the park tax going. And I knew in the a park tax, it does say you can pay them out of park tax. But again, we were looking at a half cent when the people, talked to them about it, and we dropped to 4%. It does say in there that you can pay it See what I'm saying? So it's up to this board on this one.
Shut up.
You make a motion, Bitch?
I make a motion that we move the roundtable motion. Oh, I'm sorry, Dan, I'll second.
I would like to say something before the motion is voted on, just so they have some clarification before you vote. Based on the following, information, since FY '26 is not ended, I recommend that the council could revise the budget to add the park transfer out and into the general fund for the grounds department wages at the 35%. Estimation at the following: $115,000 for the salaries, $1,300 for the overtime expense, social security taxes at $88.20, loggers retirement at $25,730, health insurance for the grounds at $19,200, life and AD insurance would be estimated at $1,300, and dental insurance would be estimated at $780, bringing the total to $172,460. You take that times 35%, brings it to $60,361. When it was first estimated at $50,000, the budget had not been completed. Salary totals were not completed at that time, and none of the estimations were completed. So, amount left in park budget surplus is $49,684. We have a reserve amount of $438,185.08 to use from reserves if we needed, if the council would approve. We would exhaust that surplus and use $10,677 from our reserves in an estimation, because we don't know how the year is going to end. We may not need that full $60,000 for the transfer, but I just need to make you all aware that that is a possibility, depending on how we end the year with their salaries and their benefits. Or you could only vote to transfer the $50,000, and then I would only move the $50,000 if that's what council wanted to the general fund.
Now,
It's
Jennifer,
all how you chose to make the motion.
wasn't the way they were being paid was out of the park tax only when they were working in parks, in the parks, correct?
So it's their wages at 35, their estimated time in parks is spent at 35%. So they estimated that their time would be spent, 35% of their time is spent in parks. So that is why we estimate and take 35% of their wages and allocate that from the parks back into the general fund.
I'm personally okay with just the 50,000, rather than going into our reserves, doing whatever. I would just like to put it back as close as we can to what it was before. Let's be good stewards with what we got and not break the bank in doing so. But
It's up to you. You'll still use a little bit, estimated at this point, a little bit of reserves, only like 300, but it's my job to give it all the information to you up front and let you know if you want to do the full 35% of their full wages, or do you just want to do the 50,000. I'm okay with either one, but I want to make sure that you have the full understanding of the picture before we make a motion and a vote.
The motion was for the 50,000.
now, hold on. So the 50,000, what would it be, what would that transfer back to it be right now?
If you only make the motion for the 50,000 at the end of the fiscal year, come June 30th, 2026, I will only make a recommendation after all transfers are in. I will only make a transfer recommendation to the council to transfer the full 50,000 that you recommend tonight.
Okay.
If you recommend a transfer based on their salaries and benefits at 35%, I will transfer, let's just say it's the $60,361. This is an estimation, of course, tonight, because the fiscal year hasn't ended. Then I would make a recommendation to council that what that time would be. We would transfer to you the 35% at their salary and benefits at the end of the fiscal year.
So we're guessing it's either gonna be 50,000 right now or 60,000 probably.
I mean, it could be somewhere between the two. Mhm.
My motion was approved, just 50.
I'll second.
So, motion by you,
Yeah.
second by you
I'll second.
for 50. Okay.
Take a roll call.
Harzell,
Yes.
Hussein,
Yes.
Albert, Dugan,
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
All right, mold testing bid at the EOC building. Now you get a bid on that mold, or anybody, or nobody?
To be quite honest, I was never told to do it, but I reached out to Servpro and I'm ready to hear back from them. They looked at the building and they're gonna come back with a bid or an estimate or what their study is within the next meeting.
All right,
That's all I have.
thank you.
Thank you.
Cuba School, Yusuf Hood Park cross-country meeting, September 30th, 2026.
Motion to allow.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Police chief report.
Okay, I only got a couple things, on the nuisance things, I know we spoke about, the property over on Washington and stuff like that, I'm gonna be making more contact with, the owner of that property that's on the Spring. Is it Springfield, Washington, and I know it's tax season for the owners and stuff like that, so they're working hard doing that, not to make excuses for them, but to make sure, hey, listen, it's the time to get cleaned up, springtime, so I'll be getting that taken care of. The other thing, I approached and spoke with Bill Dodson over some parking issues over on Commerce Drive. In fact, it's 202 Commerce Drive. Currently, right now, there is a no parking between signs in a section, which we're not enforcing right now because it's the only place people have to park for the new business. There's a new business over there, building all the prefab housing and stuff like that. And the owners of Thermal business over there that's across the street from them, they have a south entrance, and they would like to have the no parking removed, the current ordinance removed. And I spoke with Laney, we were trying to find the old current one, but haven't had time. It's an old one. It may, I don't know if it's even there, to be honest. I have no idea.
I was
It's in
searching
there.
that find a parking ordinance for Commerce Drive.
Yeah, I know there's signs there, but we don't know if there's an actual ordinance to get rid of yet or not. So we're still searching for that. But we do want to like to create a new ordinance that would have no parking between signs, that would be 20 feet before the south entrance and 16 feet after the south entrance. That would allow their tractor trailers to get into the shipping and receiving area, and that way everybody else can have their parking up there where they need it.
The people work at parking
At the I don't know what it's called, where they're building all the walls and prefab housing. I mean, there's no parking up there, so all they have is street parking. So, I mean, no one's complaining about street parking at all. I mean, it is what it is. Basically, a dead end street, even the, they're all, people, they're not complaining about it. They understand 100%. They just want to make sure that they have that room for tractor trailers to get in and out. They don't want too close to the south entrance.
Well, what are you asking for?
No parking between signs. They have 20 foot before their entrance and 16 foot after.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion, got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Do we need to make them up about city ordinance now?
You still have to make a city ordinance. That's all.
Thank you. We have bill number 22.
We do need to state clarification. The bill number on here is actually 2209, not 2206.
All right, do I have a motion for first reading of bill number 2209?
Motion.
All in favor?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Cuba, Missouri, on behalf of said city, to enter into a contract with Showtime Pyrotechnics LLC for a 4th of July fireworks display.
Motion to approve the first reading of bill number 2209.
Motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote.
Best.
Yes.
Coogan.
Yes.
Halbert.
Yes.
Liang.
Yes.
Hartzell.
Yes.
Motion to have the second reading of bill number 2209.
Make the motion.
Have a second? All in favor?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Cuba, Missouri, on behalf of said city, to enter into a contract with Showtime Pyrotechnics LLC for a 4th of July fireworks display.
Motion to approve the second reading of bill number 2209.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Hartzell.
Yes.
Liang.
Yes.
Halbert.
Yes.
Coogan.
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
Bill number 2209 becomes special ordinance 958 on this third day of March 2026. Old and unfinished business. Joyce.
No.
Pitch.
No.
No.
Oh, Brett. Jeff.
Yes, I do. I want to express my disappointment in our park board. At least with the park board you got rid of, Kevin, they were here every week to answer our questions, take things like this. And they don't even show up for meetings. And I think you need to tell them to at least have somebody show up. And that if they don't care, they shouldn't be there. That's all I got.
Lane. I have one thing. The City of Cuba, I will not be making the meet and greet candidate night on the, 10th. We have a park board meeting, I'll be making that meeting. I believe the meetings are very important as well. So I just want the citizens that if they're gonna go see me, I will not be there. I just want to announce that tonight. I will be at the park board meeting. That's all I have to say. Now, I do want to say this. Everybody knew the park board met on this certain day. They picked that certain day to have a meeting at Meet and Greet. So, I will not be there that night. That's all I have to say. All right, we're going into executive session. I have a motion.
Motion.
I have a second. All in favor? Roll call.
Halbert. Coogan. Jeff.
Yes.
All right, we're at a 3-minute recess.